I got lost, but look what I found. Yeah, I've spent so much time focusing on the mechanics of singing recently that I feel like I've gotten away from like acting a song.
I want you guys to think about how to practice effectively. See, so many concerns come up when you get in this environment. And it's important that as soon as you sit down that maybe you make a list of those concerns. Because they're not just going to dissipate on their own, right? So if you start thinking about your voice when you get up here, you absolutely need to write down as specifically as you can what you were worried about and then take that into a voice lesson. If you're up here and you didn't know what to do with your body, then you need to make some much stronger choices and maybe find a structure. If you're up here and you don't like what you're wearing, then make sure that the next time that you go on stage or when you walk into an audition room, you love what you're wearing. And the point is you have control over all these aspects, but we just sort of forget about it. We fall into a practice habit, and then we start practicing continuously the same way and hoping that somehow we're getting better. But what you need to do is get a lot more specific. And I want you guys to even separate your practice sessions. So as you've heard me say, like, dedicate your mind for a moment to voice. What I want them to start with is I want you, Nic, to dedicate this entire take just to performance.
Yes, please.
Okay? And then what we can do is follow up behind and see, well, that thing that I wanted when I was working on my voice fell apart. So I can circle that and I can go back and commit more work to it. I know that that still needs some attention. But it's also important to see how much of it holds when I'm able to let go of it. We have to remember that the voice lesson is the gym and this is the stage, or this is the arena. So this is like the basketball court or the soccer field. And you don't take the gym onto the field. You have to leave it behind. And it's so important and it's so essential to the training. But when you get out here, what was all of that for? It was to find freedom up here. And that's what I want this class to yield for you too. So practice in two ways, instead of just practicing more generally and hoping that you're somehow taking steps forward. So let go of it, okay?
Yeah.
Throw yourself completely into what you want out of the piece and why you chose to come to it. And then we can come back around and see what needs some attention.
Don't ask me just how it happened. I wish I knew. I can't believe that it's happened, and still it's true. I got lost in his arms, and I had to stay. It was dark in his arms, and I lost my way. From the dark came a voice, and it seemed to say, there you go. How I felt as I fell, I just can't recall. But his arms held me fast, and it broke the fall. And I said to my heart, as it foolishly kept jumping all around, I got lost, but look what I found.
How'd that feel?
It felt okay. Yeah, just focusing on like the story definitely has my body in like a certain way. And the breath was a little gone at places that I wanted it to be there.
Well, it sounded very tender and very vulnerable.
Yeah.
But you have to question, is that what I wanted from the voice? Is it communicating the right emotion in the right moment?
Yeah.
It wasn't wrong, but...
It's definitely, the beginning is stronger, and then I want the end to feel a little, not a little, a fair amount stronger than it just did. I need it to be tender, especially once the thinking starts, and once I start recalling the memory, but by the end I need it to be like, cue the trumpets, you know, let's go.
Yeah, and to make this sound like more of a cut, I kind of wanted to use a device for a button where we repeat the last statement one more time. So you actually do it twice for emphasis.
Oh,
It
great.
lets us know that it's over, and then maybe you could do it two contrasting ways. That can be a really effective way for you guys to button a cut. I got lost, but look what I found. I got lost. I mean, it could just be as simple as that, or we could repeat even earlier. Look what I found, look what I found.
I got lost, but look what I found. Yeah, literally. Honestly, for a comedic, that could work, but not for this moment.
But also have a little bit of a rallentando or a retard in there so that it slows down. We feel like it's, you know, that the repetition of it has emphasis,
Yeah.
and make it contrasting with the first time, so you kind of show us a mixed bag of emotions.
Great.
And also, like, I mean, as we're talking about this, are we in present day? Is this a decade period piece? Like,
Right now, I'm using it more as me.
okay, that's fine. It's just, I need you guys to start informing your choices.
Yeah.
Don't fall into the habit of coming in and just playing everything the way you are if your piece doesn't take place in that time period. And if it does, then by all means, be yourself, but inform the choices.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that the physical choices that you're making are intentional. Let's come to it one more time.
Don't ask me just how it happened. I wish I knew. I can't believe that it's happened, and still it's true. I got lost in his arms, and I had to stay. It was dark in his arms, and I lost my way. From the dark came a voice, and it seemed to say, there you go, there you go. How I felt as I fell, I just can't recall. But his arms held me fast, and it broke the fall. And I said to my heart, as it foolishly kept jumping all around, I got lost, but look what I found. I got lost, but look what I found.
That was much stronger.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you see the vulnerability and the honesty that came in that time? I want you all to be careful, because you get to a level, and I think all of you are there, where you're good. But there are things that you've picked up in your training, or that you've picked up from your colleagues and the people that you work with, and they're like, they could be better. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a dangerous place to be in when you're like at an intermediate to advanced level, because you can just get stuck there. And what I hope I'm not being clear, but I'm trying to be clear. When he first did it, he was using some theatricality and some mannerisms that I see from a lot of young performers, and I feel like they gleam those off each other. And they're ways to look expressive, and they're ways to look sort of like you're acting the song, but they're not actually connected to you. And this time, you dropped some of those, and I really could see you falling for this person, and it really pulled me into your communication. It was much more honest. And you started to drift towards it a little bit at the end with like the word foolish.
Yeah.
Okay, and with these lyrics, you know, like he's saying, act the song, and I think there's room in the beginning to maybe be like, this is kind of silly how I'm feeling, but once you go in, I need you to stay there.
Yeah.
I need you to go in and be real, and not let a word like, not let a lyric where it says foolish, but don't act like it's foolish, because at that point, that sort of deflates your commitment to what you're feeling. Like at that point, I wouldn't make fun of it at all. I would be open and vulnerable and say, I really feel this way. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna act that lyric in a very literal way, I would do it at the beginning.
Okay.
The deeper you go into, oh my God, this is a thing, try not to pull away from it. Try not to let any lyric pull you away from that commitment, because then we don't trust it. We don't trust that it's real. But you had me in the palm of your hand for a moment until you kind of went back to that.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
That
Yeah,
was-
it's really helpful.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Okay, beautiful.
Interested in more voice training? Visit us at wolfstudiosnyc.com.